What's up, guys? Welcome back to the Defending Your Faith podcast. Today I'm here with Kenney.
Yes, sir. Thank you for having me on, Jace. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you coming on here. Today we're going to be talking about a topic that's really, we're very passionate about, both of us, and we've talked about this a lot, building up the next generation.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah, let's get into it with some scripture, man. So I'm going to start with Psalm. We're going to go to Psalm 78:4. We will not hide them from their children, but will tell a future generation the praiseworthy acts of the Lord, his might and the wondrous works he has performed. So I think that's a good verse because, we need to be telling these future generations about God,
Right.
Even though, it can be hard to connect with them or whatever it might be, they still need to know the glory and the power of Jesus Christ.
Yeah, just like the generations before us didn't abandon us, we can't abandon this generation now. Like, I know that you've had mentors and people that have walked you along in your faith in Christ and faith in God that helped you become a better man and just kind of taught you the character and the stuff that you need to have. And I think Ronald Reagan has a quote. It says I think it is more about America and stuff, but it's freedom dies when you don't teach the next generation. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Or it only takes one generation for freedom to die or something like that. But if we don't spread the word of God and spread the gospel to this next generation, it's going to be harder, man,
Yeah, and it's already extremely difficult because, the technology, we've never dealt with this level of technology to where it's affecting a generation to this degree. Mm-hmm. And so, for children nowadays, it's way harder for them to connect with people because of this technology. And they're literally growing up with these, they're coming out the womb and these screens are in their faces, man.
The iPad generation, man. It's
scary. The iPad generation, man. It's a bunch of iPad kids, bro.
Yes, dude.
This is the first generation.
It's not their fault, though, man. It's
not
sad.
Their fault.
It's a lot of their parents don't want to. It's a lot easier to, than spending the time to help them control their emotions and stuff when you can just throw an iPad in their face and they'll be fine.
Yeah, exactly. And it's they're crying. Here, watch this.
Exactly.
This is the first generation where they're growing up on this technology,
right?
And they don't know anything else because I know for me and you, when we were younger, we went outside, we played games, go around the neighborhood, play with our friends and stuff like that. But this generation, they don't do that, man.
They don't, man.
I've really not seen that. It's really bad.
Yeah. I don't know, man. It's scary. And these people in power, it's they can the Google and Alphabet and all that stuff, they can just throw whatever they want onto these deals to just brainwash and indoctrinate these kids, and it's not good, man. Somebody's gonna have to stand up soon because it's scary.
It's getting bad. So it's not good, dude. It's really not. And I will say, I wanted to say some positives, because this generation is not totally lost, but this generation has potential to be the smartest generation ever. And I say that because they can know literally anything they want in the click of a button. They just go on to Google and they can know anything they want. That hasn't happened before. And so, these kids could be insanely smart. This technology could be insanely good for them if it was used for the right purposes, but we've yet to see it really be used for the right purposes.
Yeah, I don't know, but I don't think they're really using it for educational stuff though. I think they're just mainly using it for entertainment, and you gotta their attention spans and stuff are so bad that they're just having to watch more derogatory and more shocking and quick value stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really know.
Yeah.
I think you're right that they could be using it for more educational stuff, but I just don't think they are right now, man. I don't know.
That's the problem, because, you know, I mean, obviously there can be like a lot of benefits from technology, but there's also, I feel like the cons outweigh the pros. And
yeah, they do.
We're going through, you know, we see the cons outweighing the pros, you know, with this generation. And yeah, you talk about their attention span being short, like, and I mean, I just see like all these kids, they be rewatching the same stuff too.
Right.
Like they can't even branch out to new stuff. Like, you know, not even just my little brother, but like I've babysat kids and they just rewatch the same videos, same stuff all the time. And it's like, bro, like branch out, like this is boring, man. Branch out, man. Oh man, like you've seen the same Dude Perfect episode 20 times. How are you gonna watch it again?
Let's do something different.
I mean, I'm not hating on Dude Perfect. I think Dude Perfect's great.
Yeah.
But, you know.
I think I might be guilty of that. I watched like Cars. I watched the same like DVD like 20 times, bro.
Hey, man, Cars is great though. Cars is different.
I think Cars, like the first 40 minutes of Cars is like the best piece of cinema history right there.
Except for the opening scene for Deadpool.
Oh, that was good.
Nice.
That was good. I like that.
That was one of my favorite opening scenes ever, man. That was good. But yeah. So
how do you break the adamantium though? I don't understand. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. So just to give some background information, Lane and I, we both teach on Sundays at our church. Mm-hmm. We teach the 2nd through 5th grade class. And, you know, that's the age when kids are normally supposed to be able to read. And we've come across this problem. So I know for me personally, I was reading chapter books since I was in 1st grade. When did you start reading chapter books, do you think?
Honestly, don't know, man. I just always remember like knowing how to read because like my mom would read to me every night. We would like
that's the thing. My mom would read to me every night, and so we've come across this problem, and I'll let you explain it because you're the one who brought it to my attention. I didn't even realize it.
So a lot of the kids in our class are like not able to. Well, we're supposed to be like doing these lessons and going through the Bible. And this Bible is like the easiest translated versions, like New International Revised Version.
It's literally called the kids version.
It is. So it's all these verses are super easy to read. But it's like we would always have the same like 2 kids that would always try to, whenever we would ask them to read something, that we would always have the same 2 kids that would always do it. Mm-hmm. And like so I would point out to like some other kid, hey, you want to try to do it? And it would just be like, the gospel, and then you'd have to like spell out words for them and stuff. Like these kids cannot read. It's terrible.
It's bad. And I'm not talking about like, you know, the hard Bible, the hard like cities.
Yeah, it's not like the NASB or something.
Like it's not the cities that like are impossible to like read or the names that are impossible to read. No, like it's like
Melchizedek.
Like they can't read the word Jesus.
They can't. It's terrible.
And and the main reason for that is because instead of, you know, you said your mom read to you when you were little and my mom read to me when I was little. These parents, they're sitting on their phones and they're not reading to their kids. Right. That's the problem. That's what the problem is. And so these kids that aren't able to read, and like the 2 kids in our class that can read, these kids, you know, they've gone through like, you know, they've had like some sort of like reading handicap or something to where that they went through like these classes that taught them how to read, and so they can read very well.
Right.
So that's the reason, but it's bad, man.
Their moms are teachers too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, their moms are teachers too.
So they have a high value for education and stuff like that.
Right. Exactly, man.
But yeah, it's bad. It's not good if we don't have a generation that can read. How are we supposed to know and read God's word if we don't have a generation that can read, man? And it's like, this is one of Satan's like main tactics, is to go after the little children, right?
Exactly.
Because I was watching a sermon on the way over here, and he was talking about how Jesus was like, let all the little children come unto me. And like back in the ancient world, that was like unheard of, right? Like kids were basically seen as like dogs until they could work and like have some actual value. Yeah, exactly. And so they didn't have any value for these kids, and then Jesus does, and that's why, like, as soon as Christianity starts growing, we have these schools and we do all these things for children, right? And so if Satan can get to kids, if he can get to the next generation, he can, like, just cause chaos and destruction, right?
Yeah, because here's the thing: if they can't read God's word,
right?
And it's impossible to grow in your faith without being able to read God's word. You can listen as much as you want, but I've found listening to the Bible and picking up the Bible and reading it is two completely different things. Yeah. Like, there is legit power in this word, and if you're not able to read it, you're not going to be able to grow in your faith. And so Satan wants to attack this next generation, not being able to let them read. They're not going to be able to grow in their faith. Therefore, what's the generation after?
Right.
It's just going to keep going downhill. It's not good.
I don't know what the solution would be, though, because, like, clearly, like, the schools have failed them. Like,
the solution is these parents need to put down their cell phones and they need to read to their kids.
Yeah,
that's the solution. And I know, it's become obvious to me, and when I have kids, like, it's going to be top priority. I'm going to, when I'm at home not working, I'm going to give my attention to them, because they need attention. They need to be able to, I need to read to them, and I hope, my future wife will do the same thing.
Yeah.
So I just think, that's like a top priority, man.
Yeah, man. Seems like this next generation, like, a lot of them are, like, attention starved too, Yeah. They don't get this attention, and it's not good. Yeah. So, I've got some of these statistics here, and sure.
So as of 2019, the average kid that should be able to read a chapter book is 8 years old. That's as of 2019, so that's 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking that number has gone up to 9 or 10 years old, because I don't see an 8-year-old being able to read a chapter book. And because I'm teaching kids that are 10, 11 years old at the oldest, and they're not able to read the Bible.
They're not.
And so I'm thinking that statistic went up, which is really sad, because I was able to read chapter books at 6 years old.
Right.
And so that's not good. But then, we look at, so let's say kids are able to read chapter books at 10 years old. Well, what age do kids get phones? As of 2023, 42% of kids get phones when they are 10.
Heck no. Why does a 10-year-old need a phone, man?
When they are 10 years old. And then we got 71% when they are 12 years old. And then pretty much all kids have a phone by the time they are 14.
Yeah.
And then we look at the statistics. What age does a kid get social media? The average age a kid gets social media is 12 years old.
It's terrible, man.
We've got 5th and 6th graders. That's the average age for a kid to get social media. I wasn't allowed to have any form of social media until I was in high school.
Yeah.
And
I just recently got it a few months ago.
Yeah. And even then, I wasn't allowed to have all social media.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't get Snapchat until I was a junior in high school. Because, if you don't have the right people on Snapchat, that is a dangerous app. But, yeah, so I'm like, so we got these kids who 71% of them have a phone at 12 years old, and then they're pretty much all getting social media by the time they get their phone, and yet they're barely able to read.
Right.
And then, so we got 42% who get their phone at 10 years old, but 95% of kids get exposed to pornography at 10 years old. So we got 95% of kids who are exposed to pornography, and yet half of those kids that are exposed, they're getting these phones in their hands, instant access to whatever they want.
Right.
And so guess what? That's not going to help anything, because they can just go in their room and, whatever they want.
Yeah, it happened to me, man. I got sucked into that. Yeah. It's sad, man. It ruins your brain chemistry. You're not able to make as deep, intimate, emotional connections, and it's it just digs that path of like addiction in your brain, man. It's terrible. So I'm pleading to all you parents out there, man. Watch what your kids are watching. Look through their history.
Yeah. And if they are, I mean, I highly recommend. I know there are plenty of ways you can, block
Covenant
websites.
Eyes, it's a good one.
Yeah. You can block websites on phones. You can do all these safety precautions. If for whatever reason your kid needs a phone at 10 years old, please, don't let them get social media. Mm-hmm. Nobody needs social media before high school. Nobody really needs social media.
Yeah.
I understand, though, your kids want to stay connected to their friends, whatever. Nobody needs social media before high school. I'm speaking from experience. I didn't have it till high school, and I was perfectly fine. Don't let them have social media at 12 years old. We got to take these safety precautions when they are getting these phones, because they're good, they're useful, but they are dangerous, man.
They are. It's a good tool, but a terrible master.
Yeah, that's perfect, man. And then, so we also talk about, kids' brains rotting and stuff like that. Video games,
the brain rot.
Video games are great.
Yeah.
But they need to be played with control and time and stuff like that. Apparently, the average age that kids start playing video games are between the ages of 4 to 6 years old.
Dang, that's early.
These kids don't even know how to read chapter books yet, and they're already playing Fortnite. And I know, a lot of these kids, man, they can literally play for 10 hours a day. Their parents will let them play for 10 hours a day. And that's going to create... That's just so bad for you, man.
It is.
You're spending all your time playing video games and you're not even able to read a chapter book, man.
I'll be getting smoked by these 4-year-olds, too.
I know, they're good, too. That's the problem. Is I can't beat them. That's why I'm salty.
Hey, at least we can read.
At least we can read. Hey, guess what? You can't read this.
Pull up a Harry Potter book right now.
I have a reading competition with you. Show them what's up, man.
That's why I gotta play no build, bro. All right. They're too good.
You play no build and then they just snipe you, man. And
I just gotta camp, bro. I can't play with them, bro. Just gotta catch them lacking, bro.
Exactly. But I do know that God has a specific purpose for every generation.
Right.
So there are a lot of flaws and stuff, but there is a purpose for this next generation, whatever it might be. But yeah. You got anything to add on to that?
Just parents, please look out for your kids. The devil is he's gonna try to get at them any way he can, man.
Mm-hmm.
He's gonna try to. You gotta have the gospel has got to be a focal point in their life. The word has got to be the center of their life. That's got to be the center of your household. It's got to be the center of your marriage. That's got to be the center with your kids too.
Mm-hmm.
So
and they have to see this through your actions,
right?
Too. That's the thing.
Anyway.
Yeah. So
we did it.
So what do you think? What are ways that we can make an impact? What do you think?
We gotta mentor the next generation. We gotta be kind to them. We gotta make them feel included.
Mm-hmm.
Because especially people who are high school and college age, those little kids, they look at. I remember that high schoolers when I was in middle schooler. I thought they were
awesome.
I thought they could do no wrong in my eyes.
Yeah, I do remember that.
So if you make them feel included, it's gonna feel like the world to them.
Make them feel important, and really, what you got to do is you got to prioritize connecting with them. See, the problem is these kids, they've got all these screens, all the time.
Yeah.
And I found it to be super successful, just really try to connect with them in person. Because you can text them, you can do whatever, but they always got these screens in front of their face. It's really impactful when you connect with them in person. There's this one kid that I mentor, and I'll take him out to eat, just really get to talk to him. I'll play basketball with him and stuff. And I just, I've seen like a lot of change within this past year with that kid. And, he's getting baptized in a couple of weeks too. And so, it's awesome. It's really cool. And I just find it extremely impactful just to connect with him in person, and just like, because these kids, they don't know how to connect with people. Like they don't know how to hold a conversation. They don't know any of this stuff, man.
No, I know you know this. When you get into like a car with them, it's so weird because like nobody wants to talk to each other. Nobody does anything. Like you gotta be the one that is like starting stuff, because they don't conversate. I don't know.
And I'm glad you brought that up, because I was about to bring that up. Literally, so I picked up, my brother had football camp. I think it was last week. And I would pick them up from football camp. I'd take him into his friend's home. And no one would talk. Yeah, they got in the car. I'm like, how was it? Fine. What'd y'all do? Drills. Drills. Did y'all run any plays? A little. I'm like, what is going on?
Come on, guys.
And I'm like, why? Like, they would not talk to each other either. They just sat there in silence. And so, I'm just sitting there in my Jesus music, and I'm just like, I don't know these kids, right? Like, I know my little brother, but I don't know these kids. I've asked all the questions I know to ask them about football, and I got
nothing.
No nothing. And I'm like, these kids literally don't know how to talk to each other. And then what do they do when they get home? They go watch TV. They go play their video games.
Hop on their phones.
I know that's what my brother did. He got home, took a shower, and got right to his TV. I'm just like, dude, like, we literally don't know. They don't know how to talk to each other. It's so bad.
It's weird, man.
And I told my brother the next day, I said, you better talk to them, because I'm not sitting in the car in silence. And I told my mom too, and she's like, yeah, don't be awkward, Rylan. And so they talked a little bit the next day, but still wasn't great.
Yeah, I don't know. I think you just learn those like emotional skills and social skills from just like being around kids in your neighborhood. I don't know, man.
Well, it's also like
they learn kids at your church.
Yeah, they learn it from school too. And then, they get to school and they're on these Chromebooks all day.
Oh, dude, freaking Chromebooks.
They're on these Chromebooks all day. All their work is on the Chromebooks. You know what I'm saying? Like, man, we didn't get Chromebooks until I was in like 7th or 8th grade.
And I hated them too.
Yeah, and I hated them. And still hate Chromebooks. I like MacBooks and stuff, but
I mean, most of the time it's so much easier to just turn in a freaking piece of paper. Yeah. Like, so you can actually keep up with it.
Especially like math, dude. We get math homework on these Chromebooks, and I'm like, this is ridiculous.
Can I write this out, please?
Yeah, can I just write it down? But yeah, they're on these Chromebooks since like elementary school, or even like before their Chromebooks, they have iPads and stuff, and they're doing all their homework on these Chromebooks and iPads, and I'm like, all right, this ain't working, man. They can't just, go to school for 8 hours a day and be on these screens, and then come home and then be on these screens, and then, like, what, they don't even know what the real world looks like, man.
No, they don't, man.
They don't know what grass feels like.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of scary, man.
Man, this is going to be the least athletic generation, too. They're not outside playing sports and all this stuff, man.
I don't know about that, man. You got some crazy parents that just that's like all their kids do. It's just go play AAU ball, go to practice. Like that's it,
That's true. The ones that don't have screens in front of their face, they're prioritizing sports over Jesus and stuff. Yeah, over Jesus. We do see that too.
So I think we will have a bunch of athletes, but
yeah. So we can get into that, man. Like, there are a ton of people that just prioritize sports so much over their religion, and they claim to be Christian and stuff like that, but how often are they going to church? You see them, right. Oh, we didn't have baseball this week, so we're here at church. Or but like when they get home, are they opening up their Bible? Right. Are they praying with their kids before they go to bed? I know that's one thing my parents did with me for like the longest time until, you know, I learned to pray by myself before I went to bed. But they, you know, every night, you know, pray with me before I go to bed. That's important. That is extremely important.
It is, man. And it's like another deal with sports is that a lot of kids this isn't just kids. This is like our generation too. A lot of people just find their identity in sports. And they just cling on to that so hard. And then like sports are eventually going to end. Like you're eventually going to get to the point where you can't play as well as you did.
Yeah.
And they're just going to throw you out. And it's like a lot of athletes have like no identity outside of the sport they played. That's why it's dangerous, like when you don't have your identity in Christ and you just have your identity in playing sports, and like all that's going to end. Like, but your relationship with Jesus, that's for your entire life, and when you go to meet him too.
Yeah. Beyond your life, man.
Yeah.
And then, so I've given my testimony before, obviously, on this podcast, and I've talked about, you know, how I did like put basketball over my relationship with Jesus. So I was that same way. But, you know, I realized, I saw this quote and it said, there's a 0.087% chance that your child will become a pro athlete.
Yeah.
But there's a 100% chance that your child will meet Jesus. So
exactly,
get them to church. So, I mean, that's like, you know, church is the most important thing, man. Like,
it is.
It's church is how you learn how to go home and study, like, you know, build your relationship at home by yourself. You know, I think it's just so important. And yeah, I don't know, man.
Yeah, we see a lot of people that don't have any friends, don't have a community anymore. That's just because people don't go to church anymore. Like, it used to be so weird, like, if you didn't have any friends, because you had that church community that stuck together. And now we just, like, we don't have it. Like, I remember my grandparents, they would go in El Reno, Oklahoma, and they would have, like, a barbecue, like, every weekend. And I went to one, and it was hilarious. Like, me and my little brother, we found this oyster in this pond, and, like, my granddad, he's like, oh, throw that on the grill. And, like, it was just this whole nice community.
That's awesome.
And it was awesome, but, you know, all those people are dead now, so it's pretty sad. But
that is sad. But
and like the church that they went to doesn't exist anymore. So like these communities, if you don't, that's the thing that we're saying. If you don't pass it on, you're gonna lose it.
Yeah, that's good. And we talk about these communities and stuff. Having that church community, you know, we obviously have that church community at Harvest, and that's one of the reasons I am who I am today. You know, I wouldn't be like half the man I was without, you know, all y'all church guys, because y'all built me up so well. And yeah, like, it's really awesome to see like what a church community will do, especially with us, you know, high school dudes. You know, we hang out, we have each other's backs, you know, we're always there for each other. You know, it's really cool to see all that stuff, and we build each other up so much. So
yeah, a lot of this thanks to Matt and Lindsay, since they were so intentional with how they wanted the youth to be, and it was all about building relationships so that you can build that relationship ultimately with Jesus, but with each other too. You know?
Yeah, Matt and Lindsay, they did a great job with that, and they did it by setting an example. So they built those relationships with us first, because I remember before I had any friends at Harvest, well, before I even went to Harvest on Wednesday nights, I was already going on Sundays. I did not want to go on Wednesday nights. You know, I argued with my mom and stuff, just because, you know, I was like, I don't know anybody, I don't want to go there. Right. But then, you know, I go there, and, you know, I was shy and stuff, kind of hiding in the back. I was in 8th grade, and so, but Matt was extremely intentional on building like a relationship with me. And it was also easier because my mom worked there, so like during the summers I would be up there at the church sometimes and stuff. But so then he would like have me when I was up there, help him with stuff, and, you know, he just really got to know me and really built a relationship with me. And so then I had that relationship with Matt, and then like other people had that relationship with Matt, and then it was easier just to build relationships with each other too.
Right.
So
hey, that's what we're talking about, man. That's what we got to do with this next generation. We got to make them feel included. Then we can that's how we're gonna change things.
Yeah, and at camp and stuff, I would try to just really include the younger kids and stuff. Just be really kind to them, and just really try to get them to come out their shell and just So, yeah. But like, even going as far as like, sometimes during worship and stuff, like I would sit with those younger kids and stuff like that, and just like really try to make them feel included and like they are a part of the group, because they are, and they're the future. They're the future of our youth group and stuff like that. And so I'm really trying to build them up and stuff. So, yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. There's a lot of things that are good about this next generation, but if they don't have the gospel, they don't have the word, they can't read.
They can't read the word. It's not good.
It will not be good.
Yeah. But
good kids too, man.
Yeah, they are good funny. Kids. They're fun. They are the funniest generation, dude. I will tell you, man, some of the stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and name drop because it's fine. But Gideon, man, that kid is hilarious. Like, we could tell some camp stories, man. We were sitting at I don't remember if it was dinner or lunch, but I don't know, for whatever reason he wanted to pretend he was paralyzed and that he couldn't get up. Were you at our table when he was doing that?
No, I wasn't.
Okay, he was pretending that he was paralyzed, and so he's like, "Go ahead, slap me. It won't hurt," and stuff like that. So I went, boom, and it just popped, and he went, ah, and stuff, like grabbing his legs. I was like, "You're not paralyzed." He's like, "No, I can turn it on and off." So right there, I wasn't paralyzed. But yeah, I almost had him to the point of tears when I slapped him, dude.
Dude, he is funny. I saw him at Mardell, and he was just having a staring contest with me across the store, bro, when he was with his mom.
Dude, he's a funny kid, man. He is, and like, that's something I didn't realize before camp. I was like, I didn't even realize how funny this kid was, but I was like, dude, this kid's great. And that's because, you get to know him and stuff like that, and you're like, these kids are really funny, and they are good kids. So
they are, man.
Yeah,
just gotta reach out.
Yeah, and then we had that relay race, and Gideon was doing the Sprite chug, just a regular can of Sprite. I kid you not, that kid finished in less than 2 seconds. I was shocked, dude. I ran over, tagged his hand, man. He goes, gulp, and like it was gone. And I knew it was gone because like he had it upside down and nothing was coming out. And I was like, dang, bro.
No, we had a little girl try to do it, and she was taking way too long, so I just dumped it out and threw the can.
You dumped this right on and just threw it on her.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was impressed though, because like he chugged that thing. Like there was like barely any dripping from his face or anything. Like he just straight up chugged it, man. And then we had another little kid, Bodie. Yeah. He was doing the sausages, and he opened that sausages, and that man, he's just grabbing it out and he's just shoving it in his face. And I'm telling you, this kid's tiny. He's like 3'5", and he's shoving these Vienna sausages in his face, and he had to eat Vienna sausages and crackers.
Yeah.
And so he's got his face full of Vienna sausages. There's literal sausages dropping out of his mouth, and I crunch up these crackers. I go, shove this in your mouth. He goes, and then I just run off.
Yeah.
It was funny.
These kids have a lot of life, man. But if nobody wants to disciple them, then the world's going to get to them.
Yeah. And, there are a lot of ways that we can, impact them and really, truly disciple them. One of those ways is, just with the time we have, just really get to know them and stuff.
Yeah.
I know, so my mom's the children's minister at our church. And I know she talked to your mom about starting like a reading program and stuff like that. And so I don't know how far they are along in the process of that, but I think that would be really good. And they've also talked about like, my mom's been talking about this for over a year now, about like starting like a library, just filling it with, good Christian books so they could check out these books, bring them to school. And then,
that'd be awesome.
And then their friends can see, they're reading these books that are just like good Christian books and stuff like that. So,
yeah, I think my mom said that they're going to take a survey and see if any parents are going to actually be willing to do it. So hopefully they are.
If they are willing to do it, that'd be a huge step. But it goes beyond just like a reading program. Like, these parents are going to have to take the initiative beyond that and read to their kids at home. because a reading program can only get you so far, man.
Yeah, get you so far. Yeah, what are they gonna do when they're done with that? Just gonna stop again?
Yeah.
Start playing their iPad again?
Exactly. Then what have they learned? Nothing. Yeah. Nothing, man. So, and I've got this. So my mom was helping take care of these 2 kids. There's one who's going into 4th grade and one who's going into 1st grade, a boy and a girl. And, these kids are great. They're fun to be around, but they're so social. They can just talk your ear off and talk to each other. And I'm like, I love hanging around these kids. Like, they've been our friends for a while and stuff. And I'm like, I love hanging around these kids, like, I'm just surprised that they're talking so much because I haven't found this to be, when I'm helping at church and,
normal.
All this stuff. I'm like, why are they talking so much? And I realized, so I brought them to our house because my mom was working. Yeah. And my mom texted me and she said, don't forget, they're not allowed to watch TV. And I go, okay. And then I start talking to them. And, they're in my room and they see my Xbox and stuff like that. They're like, what's that? And I'm like, that's an Xbox. And they're like, oh, we're not allowed to play video games and stuff like that. And I'm like, okay. And then my mom goes, hey, they need to do their 30 minutes of reading. And so these kids, they're not on screens, and these parents are prioritizing 30 minutes of reading every day. Yeah. And I know I've been to their house. They have TVs in their house, but they're prioritizing not letting these screens just influence them all the time. Right. And then they're able to read way better than the kid. These kids are younger than the ones that I teach, and they're able to read way better than the kids that I teach. And I'm like, and they're so social. They're so fun to be around. They can just talk. Like, I was driving them here to my house, and they could just talk your ear off, man. Like,
just about anything.
Just about anything, dude. And I'm just like, this is how it needs to be done. Right. Like, that's what we need to do. And even like,
that's how it used to be.
That's how it used to be. I don't have a problem with the screens, but there needs to be limits, Yeah. Like, I know my brother, he only gets an hour of video games on the weekends. So he can't play video games during the weekdays. And I'm like, that's how it needs to be. And then, like, the prioritizing reading 30 minutes a day, like, that's important. Like, those are ways that, parents can make an impact and stuff like that.
Right.
So, yeah.
Yeah, that's the way my parents were when me and Ben were kids. We could, like, the only channel we could really watch was PBS Kids. And, like, we didn't have any video games until this December.
Really?
Yeah.
That's good. And, yeah, so the only channel I was able to watch, or really the only thing I really did watch was Disney Channel back when it was good. Because, I mean, there were days when Disney was good. Believe it or not, guys. There were days. But that was the only thing I was able to watch. I didn't get video games until I was in, like, middle school. And even when I did get it, I wasn't able to play it more than, like, 30 minutes or an hour a day, something like that. So, like, there was limits on everything that I did. And then, I always went outside. I was always active and stuff like that. So.
Right. You go play basketball, go play touch football with your friends, go.
And back in the day, when I was a kid, I read for fun. I'm not even kidding. I would read chapter books for fun, like Magic Tree House, Harry Potter, like all that stuff, man. Like, I would read that stuff for fun.
So. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding. But, like, when we were kids, like, we would, like, make up games too, man. Like, we used to play Hunger Games where, like, we would get, like, Nerf guns. We'd just go around the neighborhood and we'd be shooting each other.
Dude, if you were a kid and you didn't play some sort of Hunger Games,
yes, bro,
you're missing out, bro.
You are missing out, bro. I know. Have the Nerf swords, just hide behind a tree and then just, like, start stabbing your buddy.
Yeah, no, that's a good point, though. Like, me and my friends, we made up so many games, like, just some random games that, they would be not fun at all today, but, like, they were fun back in the day, man.
Yeah, like, I don't think my little brother had that, man. I don't know.
I know mine didn't, man.
It's sad.
It sucks. But, yeah, dude, those were the days, man.
Yeah, they were,
and,
man.
like, I look back on those days, and I'm like, that was fun. Like, we had a good time, it was all fun. And I'm just like, I look back on my childhood. I don't think about, the video games. I don't think about the TV. I don't think about any of that. I think about, you know, going outside with my friends, you know, playing sports and, you know, all that stuff.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a story about my brother Ben. One time we were playing touch football in our yard, and we had this giant tree at our house in Lubbock. And so one time, I was quarterback. I threw a ball to him right in front of this tree, and he just face plants into this tree when he's like 6 years old, bro.
Oh man. And those injuries were always worth it too, bro.
Yes, bro. No, you're just like invincible when you're a kid, bro. You don't get injured.
That's true. You just walk it off, man.
You do,
unless
man.
something is literally broken. But,
Yeah. You're malleable.
I can tell you a story. So I lived on this like circle neighborhood, and there's a golf course behind us. And so, you know, I had like a couple of buddies on that neighborhood. And so, you know, we would get together like pretty much every night, and we would have fun. Like every afternoon, every night, we would have fun, you know, do all this stuff. There was a lot next to my house, and we would like build forts with like sticks and stuff. We'd like find these giant sticks and build forts. I know it sounds funny, but so we go on this golf course, right? And it's right behind, you know, my house and stuff. We go on this golf course, and we're just exploring it, and we see a bench. And so we literally go steal the bench. we go, I wonder if this is in the ground. Nope. We pick it up, and we're like, this would be great for our fort. And so we go take the bench, not realizing that, you know, like, that's their golf course's property. And so my mom goes out there, and she's like, what is that? And we're like, we found this. And she's like, was that on the golf course? We're like, yeah. She's like, go put it back. We're like, oh, man. And so we go put it back. And we're like, we found it, man. It's ours.
Bro, I'll tell you a story. We had this like pond next to our house, and there was like I don't even know, a drainage tunnel or something. But like one time we got like we literally planned this out for like weeks that we were gonna go into this tunnel. And so we get all our buddies together, we get all the boys together, and we like start marching into this tunnel, and we get like 20 yards in there, and the guy that's leading us goes, there's a whole dude in there, and then we just sprint out. We were so scared, bro. There's a whole dude in there.
Yeah. And then, you know, so Lane used to work at Schlotsky's with me. He works at Mardell's now. And
selling those Bibles, baby.
Yeah. He's doing the Lord's work.
For real.
But I don't know if you've ever noticed this. But at Schlotsky's, you know, especially when I'm working the front, I'll notice, you know, these kids will come in with, like, especially there's this one little girl who came in with her grandma the other day. Yeah. And they were sitting eating here, and she's just on her iPad the whole time.
Yeah, I won't talk to her grandma.
Yeah. And I don't know if you've noticed that when you worked at Schlotsky's or not.
I did.
And it's a problem, dude.
It's weird. It's weird.
It's like, get off your dang technology, man. Like, talk to your grandma. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. I've had these families come in, like, even just yesterday. I had this family come in, man, and parents are on the phones. Kids have their iPads sitting in front of them. They're just eating. I'm like, what is this? Like, what's going on? Come on.
Yeah, it is weird.
Like, my family, like, you know, we're not allowed to be on our phones during dinner. We're not allowed to be on we have to talk to each other. Even if we don't want to.
Everybody's mad at each other.
Yeah, we still got to talk to each other, so. Yeah, it's not good, bro.
It's not. Humans have, like, never lived like this at, like, any time in history either. It's weird.
That's what I'm saying. It's like.
It's not natural.
It's not natural. We weren't made to live like this.
Yeah, we're made to be in connection with each other.
Yeah. God created us for community. And so
relationships,
community. If we're not able to make those relationships, then, you know, how are we going to build each other up in our faith?
Yeah. It's like, why people wonder why, like, suicide and, like, all this terrible stuff, people being alone, is, like, so prevalent today. It's because people don't have community. People don't have relationships.
Exactly. And also one reason they don't have relationships is because they're not prioritizing a relationship with God.
Right.
So if we're not going to prioritize our relationship with God, we're not going to be able to make relationships with others.
Yeah.
So
I think that's a good note to end it on.